Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, my fellow Chibits. Today, I'm here to bring you a manga chapter review of Taizai. And with this chapter of Taizai, we get to see Matrona kind of survive and tank a lot of hits. Also, we get to see some shocking revelations with Hawk's mother, Mama. So, where to begin? Where to begin with this chapter? So, let's, I guess, start off with the beginning of the chapter. For the most part, it continues where the previous chapter left off. Matrona's there, she sees Diane, and then all of a sudden, Matrona decides to sucker punch, or actually punch Diane in the gut to knock her unconscious, and then put her on her shoulder. So, obviously, from that panel, from what you can get, it doesn't seem like Matrona is necessarily evil, like she was doing that just to be an ass. I think the reason why she punched Diane was probably because to get her out of, danger. That's kind of what I felt like that was trying to do. Because if you look at the attack right after that, like if you look right after what Matrona does to Diane, Gollum breaks out, he's pissed, and then all of a sudden he just breaks the entire landscape like it's nothing, like it's paper mache. And I gotta take a few moments to talk about that. If you look at the panel specifically, you'll see a tiny little Gollum, like, off in the air. Like, he's in the air, and he's pointing his big, giant-ass weapon into the ground. And you see these trees. Like, these trees are fucking small to this panel zoom out. And you just see, like, the landscape broken and all that and destroyed. It just goes to show you how strong the Ten Commandments are. I mean, without even being full power. Because we know for a fact they're nowhere near their maximum. And they did damage like that. And what makes it really scary is that Matrona, she is holding him off. She did a good job. She did get damaged, though, by the way, which is, I guess, obvious. You would get damaged if you fought someone like them, especially with the hype build-up for those characters. But the big point that lies is that Matrona's able to stand up against Gollum and then, like, Monospites, or I think that's how you say him. Like, I don't know how to pronounce the other dude's name, but you have it to where Matrona's fighting those two. She pisses them both off. Like, she didn't really mortally wound them. She just pisses them off. They get upset, and they start retaliating against the landscape. Poor worms and birds and any sorts of living creatures that was in that area. They got fucking demolished in a matter of seconds. Like, my god. So, Matrona, though, I'm still wondering, like, is that really Matrona? I mean, I said that the scars are very similar to Matrona, because if we look at the flashback and when we look at this Matrona, the scars are in the exact same location on her body, but Chibi did say it might be possible it could be, the other girl that was supposedly dead in the flashback. So we have yet to really see, because we still need to figure out exactly what Matrona did in this chapter, because Matrona's just sitting there staring at this, like, giant-ass boulder that's surrounding Gollum, and he's, like, encased in this rock boulder, and you see his weapon sticking out of it. She looks at him, and all of a sudden, right after that, you see him break out of this rock boulder. He looks around, and you don't even see Matrona anywhere around. So, it's weird how she just instantly disappeared like that. I didn't think Matrona was that fast, so to say. But you have to be fast to be able to put up even a decent fight with the Ten Commandments, but still, what happened? Because from what Gollum said is giants shouldn't be able to use, like, illusion magic or, teleportation magic. Illusion magic, yes, but when it comes to teleportation, they shouldn't really be able to use something like that. So, what did Matrona do? Did she disguise herself as a boulder? Hear me out. In the panel where Gollum is looking around where Matrona is at, you see this giant-ass weird boulder, like this spear-type boulder just sticking out of the ground, and it's, lopsided sideways. And if you look at the way Matrona was looking at Gollum, like in the panel when she was looking at Gollum in the crushed boulder, she's kind of in the position, the exact same position to where the big-ass boulder that was, like, leaning sideways that Gollum saw and didn't see anyone at all. So I'm willing to assume that Matrona disguised herself as that rock, that big rock boulder, and then she got hurt because of, what Gollum did, but she didn't move. It makes a lot more sense, but still, for her to be able to tank that type of damage, and only get her arm, like, hurt while she's protecting Diane, that's impressive, an impressive feat. So let's move into the next segments to talk about. So one thing that was very shocking with this is that the Mama Hawk ate the Purgatory Flame Blast from a Ten Commandments. Now, I'm not talking about Hawk, I'm talking about his mother, the giant-ass mother. It's still fucking ridiculous, and I know for a fact this is probably going to have a lot of issues with certain readers of Taizai, but I theory crafted a lot on this before, and it makes a lot more sense the way you look at Merlin's reactions to how it's done in chapters. For instance, with Hawk, to how he came back, to, the Bowler's Eye, so many things like that. there's always been this weird connection with Merlin and Hawk. And if you think about it, right after Hawk's mother ate that purgatory flame, you see Merlin look, and then she's speechless. You see like a ... panel right after that. Like right after that, you see Merlin do like a ... panel. And so, obviously she was shocked. And Merlin's not one that's easily shocked. She's not. The way she acts, the way her persona is. And so for her to be acting like that, it seems like something else is going on there. Maybe, as I've said many times before, there's obviously a connection with Merlin and Hawk, because if you look at her title, the boar's sin, like a boar, if you look at Hawk, he's you can kind of consider him a boar or a pig. He's in a similar nature and category of animal, and so there is a connection between Hawk and Merlin, especially when it comes to the title of the sin, the boar's sin. So it's a possibility that Merlin actually, once again, probably made Hawk's mother, and it's probably some form of familiar or something like that, that Merlin made a long time ago. Big question is, does anyone else know about that? And I mean, did Meliodas know about it? Because he didn't seem, well, he was kind of shocked. A lot of people were shocked in this chapter when they saw what the Mama Hawk did, but Merlin didn't seem to be shocked. She was just speechless. So, interesting question to have that. Most likely it'll be revealed very soon, judging by how the writer of Nakaba Sensei does this series. I'm looking forward to it to see exactly the explanation on that, but for now, let's roll with it, because there's not much more I could really discuss besides theories and speculations. Now, the artwork of the chapter, very impressive. Like, I have to say, when it came to this chapter, Taizai, the artwork was pretty fucking good. Like, did you see the up-close and faces of some of the commandments? Oh my god, they look fucking badass. I loved it. I mean, Nakaba Sensei isn't usually the one of the best when it comes to backgrounds. Like, the backgrounds look cool and all, but usually backgrounds are kind of lacking when it comes to Taizai. That's one of the only complaints I really have with the series. And backgrounds usually are good depending on the situation, but when it came to this chapter, though, a lot of the backgrounds look pretty damn fucking detailed. Like, some of them look pretty damn good. Like, you know, the entire scene with Gollum breaks the entire landscape and all that. Or when you see how one of the other 10 Commandments, he slings his purgatory flame and it goes through like a Holy Knights versus a troll and it gets burnt alive. The forest gets burnt alive. It goes straight through a damn mountain and burns the mountain in half and all that. It just, we get to see the artwork in that. That was like Nakaba Sensei just showcasing his artwork, and he did a pretty damn good job. Not the best I've ever seen, of course. It's definitely not the best, but it looks pretty damn good for the most part for a weekly shonen. So, yeah, I mean, that's the chapter. How do you feel? I mean, how do you feel about that color page, actually? I do want to talk about that real quick. That color page, oh, shit. I did not expect to see a color page like that. So we finally got the hair colors and the design colors of our each individual 10 Commandment. Glad. I'm really glad I got to see that, because now I don't have to make speculations when, you know, I'm looking at, I'm like, okay, is it green hair, purple hair, blue hair, you know, what type of hair color do these characters have? So I'm glad Nakaba Sensei actually revealed that in this chapter. It looks pretty badass, by the way. So tell me your thoughts. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.